Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, you can get. Do you want to just jump and begin, and then I can ask questions?
Just a couple of questions I had in mind afterwards.
Yeah, sure. I owe Destiny an apology, obviously. It doesn't matter what I think of him or his community. What I did and said was wrong. Period. He didn't deserve that. And after talking with a bunch of friends and, the talk that you and I had with yesterday, I fucked up. Pretty hardcore. I think probably more than I've fucked up in a long time. I let my personal feelings and selfishness, and I could give 1,000 different excuses, things that either people would believe or they wouldn't believe. Um, like the typical stuff, like mental health and dealing with a lot of stuff in real life, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I made the decision to say the thing that I said, and it was wrong and harmful to people that I don't want to hurt. And my feelings about Destiny and DGG have not changed, but and this is hopefully the only time I use but, because I know people using but in apologies is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But what I said about Destiny was wrong, period. I was in the wrong. What I said was wrong. What I did was wrong. And it does not matter the things that I am dealing with. I still made the decision of my own free will to lash out of anger and selfishness and say something harmful to Destiny that I have to admit he didn't deserve at all. And like you brought up yesterday, and after watching some other streamers cover this and talking with, like I said, some friends about this, there are people that I trust and admire that are rightfully very disappointed in me. And I don't want that at all. And I don't want to be the cause of harm for other people. So, you were right yesterday to go at me the way that you did. And I couldn't back it up because it was just personal and selfishness and anger and frustration and lashing out at somebody, and
Okay.
that was wrong. It's probably, I would say, it's probably the biggest fuck up I've ever made on Twitch. And to Destiny directly. I am not prepared to speak to him directly right now, but I will say, because I know he'll either watch this or he'll be listening, or somebody will tell him, I am sorry. I apologize. You are obviously not required to accept that apology. I wouldn't fault you if you didn't. But I am giving it to you directly, and if you want to take it, I would like that. If you don't, I understand completely. This is obviously not a situation I ever want to be in again. Everybody knows I'm an extremely emotional person. I wish to gods I wasn't. Borderline personality disorder makes life really difficult when you go from positive 100 to negative 100 and you physically can't stop it, and then you get cornered with going to the positive 100 or negative 100 and you don't know how to respond to it. But at the end of the day, my mental health and disabilities don't give me the right to be shitty to other people and hurt other people.
Sure.
You know, and I know that, you know, Destiny's a big boy. He can take care of himself. But I don't know, and I cannot say that some random crazy trans lady on the internet saying something like that about him, I can't say definitively whether that would hurt him or not. You know, that's up to him to say if he was hurt or not by that. So I think that's kind of really where I'm at with this is just,
all right.
you know, yeah.
So I have some auxiliary questions coming off of that because I just now want to know, not in like a logic bro fashion where I'm going to ask you for the bullet point details. I just want to know, what do you feel brought you to that in as best of detail as possible? Because there is clearly some kind of a group of people that feel similar to you in empathize with your position that he fosters a community of sexual abusers and sexual harassers. And, well, also, can I state, do you stand by that statement that you made, all of those statements that were auxiliary beyond the rape statement? The rape statement, to my knowledge, you're saying was no good, but what about all the other ones?
Do I believe that Destiny and Destiny fosters a I guess I'll put it this way, toxic and abusive community? Yeah, I do still. Sorry.
Okay.
Obviously that has not changed.
Okay.
I don't like Destiny. I don't like his community. I believe that there are a lot of people in that community that are toxic. I've had to block many of them on Twitter even before I said what I said, that would send transphobic things to me or Doe or Demon Mama or other people that, you know, would attack people. I personally don't like his politics and a lot of his takes about like shooting protesters, or if you're going into someone's house you intend to fuck them, or just a lot of the stuff that he's been saying lately. And I do genuinely believe that his community would not be a safe space for me to exist in.
Okay.
That I do believe, and I am standing by that.
Can I ask why?
Well, like I just said, right? Like, you know, if you dare to lash out at the things that he says, you know, like when he said the thing, for example, about what was it about, if you're going into someone's house, you intend to have sex with them or whatever, which I thought was a really shitty take. And I said so on Twitter. You know, I had people that were saying they were from DGG, at least, you know, sending me like the transphobic meme with like the bearded, you know, person wearing a trans shirt. And
So
you know,
hold on,
saying
I
things
don't want to get into anything like that, because I'm sure that this is going to spawn a whole nother Maddie situation where they ask for proof and all that shit. So I don't disagree. I don't think anybody could imagine that you didn't get backlash. Okay, so I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and I keep saying but. The point of this is that the specific comment that I made about Destiny was wrong, period. So it doesn't matter that I feel negatively about him as a person. It doesn't matter that I feel negatively about his community. It doesn't matter that I've had negative experiences with his community. It matters that I said something that was exceedingly inflammatory and bad, and that needs to be apologized for and retracted.
Right. And so,
and
sorry.
I mean, I don't know what else to do outside of saying I am sorry for the thing that I said. It was wrong, period. Like
Right.
there's no additional addendums to that.
Yeah,
It was a wrong thing to do, regardless of my personal feelings about him and his community.
So I'm willing to accept that. I can't speak on behalf of other people, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do now is I have, I think, a very rare opportunity, which is to be able to talk to somebody, person to person, and try and get it out there, where a lot of this animosity comes from. Not even necessarily from like a strictly, like I said, logic bro bullet point standpoint, but even if you can just point me in the direction of where you think a lot of this animosity is coming from. Like you said that, you know, Harvard's a toxic community and all of this stuff, and it sounds like that part of that might come from the fact that you agree with other people's testimony that they have received harassment from his community. When you alluded to the idea that you might have gotten harassment from his community, and so part of that could come from that. Do you think that there's anything, because you said yesterday, do you think that there's anything that you find is like specifically, you said sexually abusive community? Do you think that there's anything that you believe Destiny propagates, or his community propagates, that's explicitly sexually abusive? Like, would create sexually abusive individuals out of the community, more specifically?
Wait, did I say that I thought his community was sexually abusive?
I thought I remember you saying it. It doesn't really matter. We can just, even if you did, it wouldn't matter, because if you say like, hey, I don't believe that anymore, then who the fuck cares? So I guess I could just ask, do you think that like his community fosters any kind of sexually abusive attitudes? Because I thought I remember you saying that, but I don't know if I was correct.
I believe DGG fosters misogynistic and sexist attitudes.
Sure.
Do I believe that you know, his community is full of like predators and sexual abusers and harassers? No, I can't
Sure.
justify that. I would hope that, you know, regardless of my feelings, that his mods and his community team, etc., would at least get rid of those people if that were the case. You know, but no, I can't say with any certainty that that is something that I believe. I do believe that DGG is the toxic community. That's never going to change due to personal experiences and experiences other personal friends have had with DGG. But to say that his entire community is full of like sexual assaulters and harassers would be probably even worse than what I said about him. So
yeah,
no, I don't. Yeah.
So then, about the misogyny and sexism that you said exists, can you point me in the direction where you think that is coming from? Like how you knew or you believe that began to occur?
Well, to me, like Destiny's, like I keep pointing to Destiny's one take about sex, for example, about, you know, you're not, if a woman invites you into her house, it's because she wants sex, which I think was the take. If I'm misquoting, then my apologies on that. Then
I mean, so do you want me to give you what, to the best of my recollection, what it was, or do you want to just keep going? Because again, this isn't necessarily about logic broing you down. The whole point is for me to just understand where a lot of this animosity is coming from.
We'll just move on for now, but I think that specific take was one that to me felt like it would foster a continuation of that sort of thinking, that if a woman does X, Y, or Z, it's because she wants sex, and therefore, you know, like the people could believe they were entitled to something because they have that sort of a belief. And it sort of seems to me to push this narrative that you know, men and women cannot be friends. Like, it cannot exist. Like, you can't have a woman that you're a friend with that invites you into your home and doesn't want to have sex with you, just wants company. And to me, that feels like perpetuating this sort of sexism and rape culture apologia that says that if a woman does X, it's because she wants sex, and therefore that's what you should be expecting. and could lead to people believing that they have an entitlement to that thing, which, you know, at least from personal anecdotal experience, is not true. So, you know, do we have any studies? Obviously not. I don't know. Maybe we do. Who knows? But I sure don't know. I haven't looked it up. But that one, um, you know, the way he goes about attacking trans people like Demon Mama, the things where, you know, he made the comment with Doe, for example, you know, that if Doe wanted to identify as a deer, he should be able to hunt them or whatever, was the thing that I think he deleted that tweet. But I found that to be pretty toxic and to be kind of insinuating that you should be able to like murder somebody.
So
and
just to be,
I think the thing is I wish that I was better at communicating this stuff, because I'm not, which is why I
Sure.
need to stop and go away, and I understand that now.
So then can I ask a question about any of these scenarios? So if Destiny wanted to give a take where what he was trying to communicate is to stay on the women being invited over thing. If Destiny wanted to give a take that he believed that most people, most average people, not necessarily anybody like online or anything, just like your average everyday person that you would see on the street, if he wanted to communicate a take that was something like your average person, if they, after a date, they wanted to have sex with you, one of the things that would be most common for them to ask of you would be to go back to their place. Do you think that would be something that he could do? Or how would he word that in a way, in your opinion, that isn't misogynistic?
I mean, do we know that that's actually the case? Like, I don't know how to answer that.
It's based, so he would just make like a probability thing. And okay, so let me put it this way. Do you think
I don't know how to answer that one. I don't know how to answer that one.
So then allow me to rephrase it. Do you think me saying that most people that invite you to their house after a date probably are going to want to have sex with you, do you think that is a misogynistic thing to say?
From my personal perspective, I do, yeah, because I've personally been invited back before. I mean, I've been married for 10 years, but when I was younger, personally been invited and not had things go down. So, you know, and invited people and not had things go down. So, like, I think that perpetuates something that I don't like, which is this sort of ideology that, you know,
okay,
women want a thing.
Yeah, I see. I see
and
where
you're entitled to the thing. So.
I see where you're at with it. Is there any way that I could allude to? Because do you agree or disagree with the idea that there may be a correlation with people that wish to have sex with you and those people inviting you to their home after a date? Do you think that there is probably a correlation there?
There could be, yeah. I mean, correlation doesn't equal causation, though.
Of course,
right? So.
The point necessarily wouldn't be to prove causation. So I'm just asking you, right? How would I make that known if I wanted to make that known? So, to my knowledge, right, the context was there was somebody asking for advice. They were like, "Hey, did I fuck up this date? Did this?" I believe the quote was, "Did this woman want to have sex with me?" Right? So we had to use our inductive reasoning. We couldn't ever, to prove this causally, we would always say we don't know. There is no way to know, right? So if we're trying to use our inductive reasoning to reason out why, right? If somebody walked up to you and was like, "Hey, me and this person had a date. It went pretty well. Then after the date, they invited me to their place." Do you think that you could, or I could, reasonably say to them that the person that they went on a date with probably wanted to have sex with them?
No, I don't. You can't know. You can't know what somebody wanted.
We don't know for sure, but do you think we could not run off of any kind of a probability?
I mean, sure, you could infer, right? Yeah, okay. I'll submit to that. You
Okay.
could infer. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what is a non-problematic way to infer that idea?
I'm not the person to ask, obviously. I have really bad communication skills. So I don't know how to give an answer to that that's going to be the answer that people want.
Okay, give me just one quick second. Somebody raided. Thank you for the raid, Gappy. I just didn't want to interrupt my line of logic. Thank you for the raid, brother. Okay, so basically, I hope you understand what I'm asking is, like, I'm trying to figure out a way that Destiny could have worded this that would not be seen as misogynistic to you. So, do you think that there is any way to make an appeal to the probability that somebody might want to have sex with you at all without it being, like, problematic? So, like, if I say to a woman that a dude walking up to her, like, and saying, hey, you know, you're so beautiful and stuff like that, and saying, hey, do you want to come to my place after, and saying, you know, trying to be open about informed consent and talking about their boundaries and stuff like that, do you think me stating to that woman that that dude is wrong for thinking that he wants to have sex with her is a good idea? Or do you think that I can say, yeah, probably if they're talking to you about informed consent, if they're talking to you about how beautiful you are, and if they're inviting you back to their place, that they probably want to have sex with you? Or do you think that that's wrong to infer?
Oh, God. I feel like you're trying to trap me here, to be honest.
Okay, I understand
something that I can't give you a solid answer on.
I could understand you feeling like I'm trapping you. My whole point of doing this is just simply to get you into the position where you understand that somebody might be willing, or that it's okay in certain circumstances. You may not even agree with Destiny's circumstance. That's not even where I'm trying to get you. I'm just trying to get you into the position of understanding why somebody might feel okay with giving this kind of advice. That when you see these signals or what have you, that this person probably wants to have sex with you at a higher rate than of probability relative to your perception of the situation than previously, right? That, like,
yeah.
Okay, so that's all I'm trying to communicate, is that I think me and you can.
I mean, I'm really, really, really big on consent. So, like, I wouldn't make any judgments whatsoever without explicit consent. So
yeah,
but I'm also married, so, like, I'm not dating or going out with other people. I've been married for like 10 years, so
sure,
that wouldn't be a situation I would be in to begin with. That, and I'm also, you know, an extremely not attractive individual, so it wouldn't matter anyway.
Come on now.
I mean, why do you think I never have my camera on and take selfies? Because I'm not a good looking person. So I would not be in that situation regardless where somebody wanted to be with me. So anyway, so I'm glad I have my wife, because nobody else would want me. Anyway. But I think the reason this is very difficult for me is I don't like inference because of personal experience. Things were inferred with me, with somebody I was with before my wife, and it didn't go well. So I'm, like, really, really big on you know, explicit, enthusiastic consent.
So
like,
when we're talking,
people just asking each other things and getting an answer.
When we're talking about inferring, we're talking about inferring to make somebody not uncomfortable. So would you agree that me walking up to a random woman on the street and say, hey, just so you know, I'm down with oral, I'm down with anal, and stuff like that, could make right. But is that not, hold on, is that not asking for certain types of consent? It is. So what we need to do is we need to look for certain signals that people are comfortable with being open about even having that discussion. Because even beforehand, if I walk up to a random person on the street and I go, hey, so let's talk about consenting to sexual activity. this person could feel, in my personal perspective, rightfully harassed by me. So what we need to do is we need to look for certain signals that people put out in order to communicate to us that it is okay to even approach them in the first place, to begin talking about consent before we even engage in sexual activity. And that is what we're talking about. It's okay. Perhaps one of these signals might be saying
misinterpreted,
or yeah, it could be misinterpreted, or it could be saying that you're incredibly beautiful, that whatever, right? It could be something that, and I think old Destiny's point was one of those signals is getting invited over for after a date. After a date goes well, somebody invites you over to their place. This is one of those signals for you to go, A-okay, let's start talking about consent, because we are now in, the other party has communicated to us that we are of a higher, we're in like a, I guess, a different social strata that now opens us up to be able to talk about consent. And
I guess I just wish he would have worded it better.
Right.
Kinda
That's
the way
so
you're
that's
wording
that,
it now.
right. So that's what I'm trying to ask. How can Destiny word that? That isn't
Not the way that he
misogynistic?
did, the way that you did.
Okay.
That's my answer. Basically, the way you've been explaining it to me versus the way he explained it, you're better at it. You know, like, because from my, if I were in that situation where somebody invited me back,
Mm-hmm.
there would obviously be like an internal, okay, is this person interested in me? I get that. That's, but then if I said yes and we went back, I wouldn't just assume that I was entitled to anything either without, okay, well, now that we're here, the feeling I'm getting is that this person is interested in me. I should move to, hey, are you interested? You know, you should be moving in like step by step is the way I guess I would have preferred it explained, is that sure, okay, fine. The average person in the United States is going to assume that if you get invited back to somebody's place, male or female, it doesn't matter, that person's probably really interested in you. And if you accept that invitation, you're probably telling them that you're returning that and interested in them.
Correct.
But what happens when you actually get back to their place is,
Do you think
the
that
problem,
Destiny
like,
would
you know,
do you think Destiny would disagree with the idea that you would ask for consent?
probably not, no.
If Destiny doesn't disagree with the idea that you would ask for consent, then why do you believe his take was misogynistic?
I don't know. Just do. Sorry.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, this is just more about
Just the way it came off and felt
yeah.
at the
No,
time.
I don't disagree. Like Twitter, Destiny's rhetoric can often catch a lot of other people in crossfire or leave a lot of open-ended questions, what have you. Or I'm sorry, his friend on Twitter, and stuff. So yeah, there's okay, that's fine. So,
and obviously, I understand there are a lot of people that aren't going to be happy with this conversation. It's probably not going to have been enough
well, the whole
for some people, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm trying. It's the best I can do. You know, to just reiterate that the thing I said about him was wrong. It was harmful to him. It was harmful to other people I didn't want it to be harmful to. There are people that I respect and admire that are extremely disappointed in me, and I don't like that feeling. So, like,
yeah,
it's yeah, just trying to reiterate that the thing that I said was wrong. Period. No matter how I would try to justify it now, or whatever excuses I could throw at people, it was just wrong. Period. So I want people to understand that I understand that what I said was a harmful, bad thing to do, and that I fucked up really hardcore, and I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
and
you
yeah, we can that bears repeating, but the whole point of me having any questions for you isn't that, because I can accept what you just said. Obviously, you know, Destiny isn't a big fan of apologies and stuff like this. It's more of something else and stuff, but like you said, that's all that you can really do. So I think anybody that expects anything more is, you know, being a bit weird. So what I want, the whole point of me asking questions is just there seems to be, again, just for anybody that's like joining or what have you, there seems to be a group of people that agree with you on a lot of your sentiment about Destiny. I just want, because this is the very first time I've been able to have a civil, like, back and forth with somebody that has this kind of opinion. I'm just trying to elicit where this might be coming from and not necessarily try to drill you on things. I feel like I did a little bit on that last question, and I apologize for that, but
No, it's fine.
that's more. I'm just trying to illuminate where Destiny might be coming from on some of his takes, and I understand where you're coming from against some of his takes, especially if we're talking about Twitter.